Okay, now that spring is here, why don't we take a tour of the nursery? You can see my inventory getting less. According to my plan, I got another 6 years. I get rid of all my plants so I could be out of this business. The princess persimmon did not drop all its fruit. And then as we pan across here, a lot of more or less finished stuff. And oh yeah, here's our sailboat style. Here is all those material that I recommend for people getting started. Not the cheapest, but I think for the amount of time that was put in to get these ready, this is probably the best deal. I think we talked about that before. You can see that the maples are coming out. Beautiful. You're going to have to excuse the weeds. Those boulevard cypresses. Okay, if you ignore the weeds, you can see this is medium-sized boxwoods and assorted other plants. I was working on this other side with the larger boxwoods, and there's still open space. All this nursery is constantly changing. This is where I keep the larger boxwoods. Our peacock. I think previously we saw the drive-through, but it's no longer here. It's got sold off. And then on this side here is a mixture of mostly hinokis, I guess. Here is hakoniwa. And some of the others. This is where I keep some of my wild plants. Well, you know, the ones that are like air layering and digging out a landscape and things like that. I try to keep people out of here because like these pomegranates were yanked out with a tractor and they need to recover if they're going to come back at all. And if people touch it, you'll ruin the development or recovery of these plants. So I try to keep people out, but there's people that always want to be poking around, so they'll come in here. It's no big deal as long as they don't touch. In this section, we have all the sun-loving plants. Olives, zelkovas, elms, things like that. There's no shade structure here at all, so it has to take the sun. Here's the bottom part of the triple air layering. It's coming back. I'm going to let it just flush out, and then we'll get back to styling. Okay, this area has a lot of the Chinese elms and others that tend to like sun. It has some protection, but we get some more sun than other areas. I think the last time we had a tour here, we had the hornbeam, Japanese hornbeam. Well, that one's gone too. Things are moving along nicely here, so I think I'm going to be on track to be out of inventory when I turn 80. That's my master plan. This area is still under construction. A lot of the newly dug out or experimental plants that need to be kept untouched will be housed here. And I'm going to close this up so these nosy people can't come in. And well, bonsai people will. No matter what you do to try to discourage them, they have a tendency to poke around anyway. As long as they don't touch this area, well, what happens when you touch and move, then you end up the roots that are trying to develop. That's the only reason I want to try to keep them out. So these are sun-loving materials. I was just getting around to fixing all my irrigation. I think these should be okay. Okay, this area has 50% shade structure protecting the plants. I got partially cleaned up, pulled the weeds and trimmed, but by the time I finish the whole place, it starts all over again. I think you recognize these. These are those dwarf olives that have been trained. And I think earlier this year we did the pruning on this mugo. And then going down, we got my Uncle Taka's pine. Oh, that elm on the end is here for major restyle because the top died. And on the other side, we got all these really sun-loving plants. Chinese hackberry, Chinese elms, things like that. Okay, we got some black pines, well, pine mixture, mostly black, some red. Okay, I'm still waiting a little bit longer to work on this dwarf hinoki cypress in a canopy style. It's changed color because of the weather. When it's very cold, it turns bronze like that. And this is one of my best black pines. And behind it is some really nice looking specimens. As you pull into the nursery, you're greeted by these larger Milwaukee pines. It's getting a lot less. Here's a few more things that you'll see when you come into the nursery. Okay, so we still got some pines. Looks like this one needs pruning. I think I moved it from another sections. When I finish, I thought I was finished with everything, but that one looks like got missed. After over 50 years of collecting rocks, I finally put it in a decent display. Actually, the only people that come here is Dale and me. Most people are not deeply into rocks yet. Hopefully, we'll get you a little bit better acquainted and learn how to appreciate good looking rocks. But for now, this area is for Dale and me. Hopefully you enjoyed this little short tour of the nursery. Like I said, we're just into spring. And what we're looking at, hey, you know all those bonuses that you like and you're wondering what I'm doing with them? Here they are, all those bonuses that we looked at. So these were those hardwood cuttings and discarded things that may be or may not make it. These in those green pots and the black pots, they were started last year and they rooted, so now they're in growing medium versus, oh, remember Dale's willow? Well, that's what's there. And then like the olives and the boxwoods and ginkgos. So anyway, this has been Hiro taking you on a nursery tour and concluding with what's happening with all those bonus things that we've been saving. So anyway, we'll see you again real soon. Maybe when summer comes around, we'll do another tour. Anyway, take care, everybody. Stay safe.